A Happy Death is Albert Camus' most underrated book, and here's why. I'm going to review it today. I've read it almost twice now, and no, I don't hear anyone talking about this book. Everybody read The Stranger in high school, but nobody talks about A Happy Death. It's mostly The Stranger and The Myth of Sisyphus. So if you're a young guy, and I would say if you're 18 to 25 or even older, but predominantly that age group, this book is for you. And let me tell you what it's kind of about. So they say on the back of the book that A Happy Death can be read as a preamble to The Stranger. The main character is Patrice Merceau, and that's the same character, or at least the same name as the guy in The Stranger, although they are not the same character. Their storylines don't necessarily connect. But The Myth of Sisyphus is nonfiction. It's about the contemplation of suicide and the direct definition of absurdism and being okay with a lack of meaning. That's essentially a broad recap of The Myth of Sisyphus. Now, A Happy Death further takes you into the mind of a guy who seems to have this meaningless existence. Merceau, in this book, A Happy Death, goes to work every single day, and he talks about the monotony, the sameness of his life blurring his vision. It talks about him after work coming home and just sitting on his porch watching cars drive by. And he can't seem to do anything that really brings him any sort of passion. He's just sludging through life. And so I feel like today it's really common for people to go through their life and just not see any meaning in it. A lot of people are going through their life searching for meaning. So reading a book, even if it's about a fictional character, allows you to connect with someone who's like you. It's not crazy to feel an absence of meaning in a life. Everyone will experience that at some point. And even for that reason alone, I think it's important to read a book like this. Nobody talks about A Happy Death. I don't hear anyone talking about it. It's not a top seller of his books, but it's so easy to connect with this character. So that's reason number one, is just his meaninglessness of life. Merceau in this book is also enraptured by women. So he talks about seeing this girl who they're not technically dating, but when they go out, he loves to have her by his side because she's beautiful. But even so, he feels very cold towards her at times. And there's a moment in the book, I'm not going to try to spoil too much of it, but they basically go to the movies and he sees her talk to another guy. Up until this point, the mistress thinks that Merceau has no feelings. And then she notices that when she's talking to this guy whom she used to be with, Merceau gets very angry. And it's the first time that he shows he cares. And he goes on to state that it's the first time he does care. He feels closer to her than ever after seeing her talk to another guy. And this book so perfectly captures what toxicity is in a relationship and just sheds some light on this unconscious process that people go through, but zaps you into the mind. So that's reason number two, is just this toxic love phenomenon. And then reason number three is the will to freedom through financial freedom. So Merceau, again, he's stuck in this 9 to 5, which is so relatable to most people in a modern age as well. And he finds he has no time to be free and no time to be happy. And for that reason, everything is meaninglessness. And he knows that he could find meaning if he had time, but he simply doesn't. He needs to keep working to feed himself. And then there's a conversation in the book. I don't want to give it away. It's a great book. It's a short book. It's easy to read. But there's a conversation where they're talking about money. And the guy talking about it, he says that every man who desires to be happy will also crave wealth, because wealth does not buy happiness, but wealth buys you time. Time is freedom, is a prerequisite to being happy. And that's something that it was said so poetically in this book. And one subconscious bias you can fall into is thinking that money is evil. And I feel like this conversation in the book reminds us that money's not evil. It's not demonic to want money and try to find freedom through it. And lastly, the fourth theme that I would put into this book is the contemplation of death and the beauty of death. The title itself is A Happy Death. And to no surprise, it's a major theme in the second half of the book. And the main character experiences this freedom, but still dies happy. So if you want a short, simple, beautiful book to read, I think A Happy Death is without a doubt the most underrated Camus text. Legendary. I've read The Stranger, I've read this one, I've read The Myth of Sisyphus, and then I've got The Rebel on my shelf. But I really like Camus' fictional texts as opposed to his non-fictional essay-style writing. So this one is just incredible. I also have The Plague. I forgot I read that one as well. So I've read a lot of them, and this one is so far my favorite. Enjoy. Peace.